Hi YouTube, it's me TFR Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the second of this month's Korean toy reviews, where I buy a toy from Korea and I review it for your pleasure. Right, now as with the last review I did on Hello Carbot's Laranja, I said I wanted to get that video done in under 20 minutes and I managed to rattle it out into 16 minutes, which was pretty impressive. You know, because I cut out a lot of the unnecessary chat. I'm going to make the same claim for this video. I'm going to try to do it in under 20 minutes, but as this figures, there's a lot I want to say about it. Don't hold your breath. Don't be surprised if this video goes over 20 odd minutes. Anyway, without that said, let's get on now. Hello Carbot toy line. It's probably my favourite Korean toy line that I like to buy from. I buy a bunch of figures from it, but there are other Korean toy lines I like to buy figures from as well, including the Tobot toy line. I mean, the Tobot toy line was at one time, it was the most popular, Korean toy ever, sold in the country. It was the most popular toy brand in Korea one particular year, back in the sort of like the the mid 2010s. Yeah, Hello Carbot has probably eclipsed it in recent times, but they're still rattling on with their the Tobot toy line, and in recent times it's been the Tobot Victory or Tobot V toy line, and we've got figures like this guy, Tobot V Season 3 Wild Chief, and he's an absolutely awesome figure. He's so amazing, he's awesome. So the figure I've got today is another figure from Tobot V Season 3. And it's from the like the final sort of wave of figures that they did, and it is Tobot V Season 3 Air Hide, and now he turns into a jetliner. And before we look at the figure, let's have a quick look at the box. So here's the box, and obviously it's a typical sort of a Tobot or Young Toys box. It's got a large plastic window, plastic clamshell in the middle, so unlike Hello Carbots where their packaging has gone all cardboard and recyclable, yeah, Young Toys are still using the plastic. It has got some recycling marks on the plastic though, so you can recycle it if you want to. If you want to, let's say, recycle this box, you can rip the plastic out and recycle the plastic. So I suppose that's something. Here's the box. It's a nice thick chunky box. Product information on the bottom, Tobot V logo on the top, his name down the side, Tobot V Season 3 Air Hide, and then you got pictures of him on the side, nice chunky tome, pictures of his robot and alt mode on the back. So that's that. Now this figure, I had to buy it through 11th Street, and I tried to get one off G Market, but unfortunately I had that same problem I've been experiencing with G Market lately, whereby I placed an order and then the next day I found out my order's been cancelled by the seller because they were claiming it was out of stock and I got my money back. This is getting really frustrating. So I tried to buy this figure off a G Market seller, but again I had my order cancelled. So I decided to go and look on 11th Street. Now I haven't bought anything off 11th Street for a while because that website, I've had nothing but trouble with it. All my web browsers, especially Google Chrome hates that website big style. Whenever I try to buy something off there with Google Chrome, it always blocks my transactions. And yeah, so I did it on the desktop, the computer I'm doing this video on, and I managed to find one at a reasonable price. I bought it and had to pay EMS shipping on it, which is like really expensive. There's another reason why I used to go I prefer to go to G Market, because they had the FedEx shipping option, which used to be cheaper than used to be about 10 quid cheaper than EMS shipping. But that's not the case anymore, because FedEx, now they're the sole international shipper on G Market. They've upped their price to EMS sort of shipping prices, and yeah, it's no cheaper to get stuff out of G Market than 11th Street now. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, so I bought a figure, and then I had a bit of bother with it. With the shipping and everything, it came to about just under 64 quid. And then the seller declared the wrong shipping weight on the package. They said it was 460 grams, when actually it was 620 grams. So they shipped it from their place to the 11th Street shipping warehouse. They then went to repackage it for international shipping. They weighed it, found it was a lot heavier than it was said it was supposed to be. So I got, a notification. Oh, you got to pay extra shipping on it, an extra £7.30. So I ended up paying £71.14 for this figure, and I'm not happy at paying 70 quid for a figure. I mean, these Korean figures, in my opinion, are not worth 70 quid, or they're not worth 70 quid for me to import them from Korea. If I could teleport over to Korea, I could buy them off the shelf for like 25, 30 quid each. But you have to pay the shipping to get them shipped from one side of the world. They're only available in Korea, and I've got no choice. And yeah, so this figure, I paid like just over 71 quid for it, and I'm really not happy about that. But it is what it is. It's just a sign of the times. Prices are going up. What can you do about it? Anyway, so comes with instructions. It's got nice black and white instructions with, highlighted sort of steps. Pretty good, pretty clear instructions. But as with most Korean toys, you don't really need instructions to transform this thing. So let's have a look at his alt mode. And here he is, Air Hide in his alt mode. And yeah, it's a jumbo jet. It's a Boeing 747 or something that looks akin to it. I love the alt mode. The alt mode looks amazing. It looks awesome. I mean, it's got those features that you expect to see on a jumbo. It's got the big bulbous, sort of nose with the high cockpit. It's got 4 big massive engines slung under the wings. It's got the very wide sort of wing profile with them little flappy sort of hinges on the back. It's got moulded window detail in like upper and lower, sort of like first class cabin and then the lower class. Absolutely amazing alt mode. It's got these lovely sort of like blue stripes and sort of orangey yellow stripes. Shame it's got that little exhaust port on the back, which I think is for the auxiliary power unit they have in the tail. But the only thing that doesn't make it a proper jumbo is the fact it hasn't got a humongous tail on it, because the jumbo's got a huge tail, and also the fuselage on the back of a jumbo slopes up so that when it's taking off, the nose doesn't, the tail doesn't hit the ground when it's angling up to climb away from the runway. But apart from that, it's a really, really, really successful looking alt mode. I mean, look at it from the top. It just looks amazing. I mean, okay, there's a slight misproportion in the size between the engines, but there's a reason for that. And as a plane former, he's very successful, because we know most Transformers plane formers, they're usually, almost a perfect plane on the top and then lots of scrunched up robot bits underneath. A big block of scrunched up robot parts underneath. That's a typical transforming plane former. But this one's pretty successful. I mean, yeah, if you go underneath, you can obviously see the arms, right? You've got the arms, they're quite visible. And you look from the front and obviously the arms are sticking out there. And also you've got the robot hips as well, are there. But apart from that, everything else blends into the plane mode really well. And it looks awesome. I mean, it's got a decent weight to it. It's got these little flap things which come, even though flaps hinge down, they don't hinge up. But, air brakes, I suppose you could call them. But, yeah, they work. And he's got landing gear. So you've got nose wheel and you've got the wheels underneath. And, get this, pinned rolling wheels on the landing gear. I kid you not. It has got rolling pinned wheels on the landing gear. Now you name me another transforming plane former that's got that. I bet there isn't many. Usually it's just like some plastic sort of fake wheels that don't spin, that just come down, so you can just plop it on a flat surface and it'll sit there. But no, it's actually got rolling pinned wheels for his landing gear. That's absolutely outrageous. But yeah, awesome. And obviously because he's a Tobot, he has a tow key and it sticks underneath, so you can take that off, and it's a nice, like a metal, well, they're all metal tow keys, but he's number 6. He's and it's sort of like got these wing shapes on the side to signify that it's off a planeformer. But yeah, I love the alt mode on this thing. It looks so good. I mean, it looks enough like a Boeing 747, like a jumbo jet to carry it off. It really does. Not 100% perfect, hasn't got perfect proportions. There's quite a few compromises they've done to fit the robot mode into it, but apart from that, it looks amazing. So let's go on to the transformations, shall we? So we can fold the landing gear in for starters. Then just split. Well, actually, it's a Tobot. You're supposed to start the transformation with the toe key. Now it's got a little slot in the tail. Stick it in and then twist and it starts splitting the tail. But you don't really need it for the transformation on this guy. Anyway, the first thing to do is to separate the wing pack. And it does plug in. There we go. Then you can bring the back half of the plane down like that. So that's this is the legs. Then you can split the legs, take the tail sections, spin them round, and they will plug into there. Do it on this side as well. Then you've got the feet that come up. And that's the legs done. Then we get on to the fuselage. Now, the wings form this massive backpack, and he's got an unusual feature on his robot mode where the shoulders are not attached to the torso; they're attached to the backpack. And yeah, so that's an unusual feature. So now we need to split the cockpit open to form the chest. Then you've got the head, pull the head up, and then we've got the backpack. Now the backpack, as you can see, it's on a double hinge. It's got like a free swinging hinge on one side, and then it's got a ratcheted hinge on the other. So you bring it up, and then it sort of rests in the back there. Now these little panels there, you flip them out to make clearance. Then you take these engines and rotate them to the outside. Then you unplug the big engines and bring them down to form the arms. Fold the wings down like so. And then finally rotate the arms forward, and then you've got to flip the engine open like so, and then you flip round the fist, and then the other arm flip, top open, and then flip round the fist, then shut that back up, and then you just line everything up. Actually, it's probably good to tip the engines up. And then finally, toe key. There's a little slot on his waist, and you plug that in. And there we have Air Hide in his robot mode, and he looks really cool. I love the white. Obviously, you still got the white, the plain mode, and you still got the blue, some bits of yellow, but there's a few more colours that have popped out in the robot mode. Obviously, he's got a lot more blue on the inside of his legs. You've got a little bit of silver around the midriff. Then you got some more yellow bits showing up. And yeah, it's a really good colour mix for this guy. He looks really cool. Obviously the landing gear folds into his thighs like so. And he looks really cool. He's got a pretty cool head sculpt. You can probably see it. It's kind of like a small version of the top of the cockpit for his hat. And then he's got these vents either side of his cheeks. And he has got amazing light piping as well. His light piping is awesome. Articulation on this guy. He's got a ball jointed head, which has got a decent range of motion. It's got like side to side wiggle. It can go round at least 45 degrees. Well, you can get it, oh well, yeah, over 90. The back of the chin has got like a collar, like a fairly chunky squarish collar around the back, and the chin sort of hits it so it won't go all the way around. Now, as I said, this guy's got some unusual shoulder joints. So if I flip the backpack up, you can see the shoulders are attached to the backpack. They are not attached to the torso. And it just hangs down like that with a friction joint. It doesn't clip in, which is unfortunate. That's one of the sort of the downsides of this mould, is the fact that it's got that hinge joint at the top, which kind of holds it in place, but not really. But saying that, even though his shoulders are not attached to his torso, they're attached to his backpack, they've still got a decent amount of motion. I mean, if you move these pieces in, you know, it can go all the way around. It can go up and down like a double ratchet. It's got bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that gets over 90 degrees. Though, as he's got quite chunky arms, there's a limit to how much he can do. He's got a fist, but you can't do anything with it. Now, this guy has got a waist joint. Right, he's got a waist joint. So he's got bicep swivels and a waist joint. Oh, the trouble is, when you're handling this thing, you keep hitting the toe key and knocking it off. So he's got he has got thigh swivels, though they are like 45 degree ratcheted thighs. The hips go up there. They do knock the toe key off when you're going forwards, but you know, you can kick right far forwards. You can kick really far back, but the backpack gets in the way. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, he's got thigh swivels. Double jointed knees. He's got double jointed knees. So let's get the wings out of the way. So you know, the knees go back a good way on the ratchet joints. So yeah, he's got a really good amount of articulation. Nothing on the feet, sadly. He's just got that usual thing where he's got a slight angular cut on his feet to give him a neutral A stance. So yeah, he's pretty decently articulated, really. He really is, you know, decently articulated. And you look round the back, obviously he's got the wing pack, so he's relatively clean at the back. We could turn them engines around out the way. And apart from the backpack not really plugging in, which is a bit of a bummer, he's a pretty successful robot and looks really cool, and he's decently articulated, and you know, he's got a good weight to him. He's got ratcheted joints, he's got double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, thigh swivels, bicep swivels, ball jointed head. You know, he's got universal joints on his shoulders, so that they go, you know, up, down, left, right, you know, all the way. And his hips, provided you know they're not crashing into things, they go all over the place as well. So fantastic, really good robot. Like I said, the only sort of downside is it's just a shame the backpack doesn't plug in. But, you know, can't have everything. I think this is a great figure. I think he's really cool. Size comparison, as I've got him to hand. There he is next to Wild Chief. Now, in reality, this guy should be a lot bigger because he turns into a jetliner, you know, which is a bit bigger than a Jeep. But there they are, side by side. And then, obviously, got Combiner Wars. Megatron, obviously, you know, he's a full, you know, leader class figure. And he's slightly shorter, but, you know, still pretty good. But you know, as I said, as I paid over 70 quid for this thing, I don't think he was necessarily worth what I paid for him. Now, this figure, I should have put this at the front of the video, but I forgot. But well, we're just wrapping up now, and we've gone over 20 minutes, so yeah. Now, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. RobstineONE. Yeah, he's a YouTuber in America who also likes to collect and review Korean toys, and he did a review on this figure a while ago, and I was very much on the fence about getting this guy until I saw his video, and then he showed me, you know, how great this thing is, and I decided, yeah, I want to get that figure now. So I've got it, and yeah, thanks to you, Rob, I've finally got me an Air Hide, even if I paid through the nose for it. Yeah, and Mr. RobstineONE has recently come back from a little sabbatical. He decided to stop making videos for a while because it was getting burnout, I suppose. It was getting a bit much, you know, for him, you know, getting a bit much to him, and he decided to stop for a bit. But he's recently come back, and he's probably not going to be doing quite as many videos as he used to, but still, it's good. And as he's a fellow, you know, sort of Korean toy reviewer, I like to think of him as a kind of like a rival of mine, you know, because we're both reviewing Korean toys, and you know, just as a friendly rivalry with me and him, and Mr. KR Brickbot as well, because we're like the sort of the three main guys. I mean, there are probably others that are doing, you know, English speaking Korean toy reviews, but these are the three that I know about that are still going. So anyway, Tobot V Season 3 Air Hide. He's pretty good. I like him a lot. He's not perfect. He has a few minor issues, but apart from that, he's pretty damn good, and he's worth a pop, you know, provided you don't pay over the odds to get one. So that's been my review of this figure. That is my Korean toys review done for this month. As I've got this problem now with the price of Korean toys going up, well, mainly the shipping of them, I don't know whether I'll be buying two big Korean toys next month. I'm planning on buying probably one big one and maybe a couple of small ones. We'll have to wait and see how that works. But yeah, I just can't afford to spend, you know, like 65, 70 quid for these bots all the time, because, you know, I've got like a £400 budget I stick to every month, and when you get two £70 bots, that's 140 quid. That's nearly... That's a good chunk of my money gone already just on two figures. You know, it doesn't leave much left to buy other things. So, with that said, I've been TFL Wilderness. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da!